Alrighty, everybody. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another stream, y'all. Hope everyone's doing well. Happy, what's today? Thursday? Yeah, Thursday. What's up, guys? Welcome back here, y'all. Hope everyone's doing well. So we are here with another update for y'all's here this evening. So we got a little bit new stuff to talk about here, actually. We're going to get into it here in a moment. But first of all, I want to go ahead and give a warm welcome to Mark. What's up? What's up, Bill? Saying hello. Mark saying an outflow boundary just went through Bowling Green, Missouri. Just standing outside, it was like 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Wow. Yeah, those outflow boundaries can certainly bring some gusty winds. That is for sure. What's up, Ponderosa? Welcome back. What's up, Colton? Hopefully you're doing good, my friend. But, of course, everybody else who is here, what is up, y'all? Hope you guys are doing good. So, yeah, so we're going to be doing a little bit more of an update here for you guys. So we do have some new traction that we're going to talk about here in a few minutes. We're going to definitely keep an eye on the tropics. We might have a new system to monitor here. We're just going to have to keep an eye on it. We're going to get more into that here in a moment. But anyways, what's up, Chris? Saying hello. What's up? What's up, Emmanuel? Saying yo. What's up, guys? Anyways, folks, so we're going to go ahead and dive right on into it. So first thing I do want to mention here is earlier, we're going to go ahead and actually get rid of all those warnings and stuff. We've been having some pretty deep convection out here by Louisiana on the southwestern side. You can see here on the infrared view. It seems like things are starting to lighten up a bit convection-wise, but we've been seeing quite a bit of activity out here, regarding precipitation out there throughout like Louisiana and whatnot. I do want to look at the, let's look at the overall storm total precipitation here, in which you can see some areas have actually picked up quite a bit of inches here. Some of these regions here between mostly like 1, maybe 2 inches of rainfall, but obviously we've had some locally higher amounts in some spots here. That's going to be the main concern of this disturbance that we're watching here in the Gulf here. To be honest with you and to be fair, this system right here is probably not going to really be much of anything, anything super, super crazy overall, except for maybe a little bit of flooding and stuff. But, honestly, we're going to have to start watching the main area here in the MDR because there's actually been a little bit of mentioning here of maybe some tropical activity here in the future, working its way through to the west here, which we're going to get into that here in a minute. But anyways, what's up, SPC? Welcome. Mark says the Atlantic. Yeah. Yep. We're gonna get into it here in a second. See, it's lightning there. Gotcha. Well, stay safe out there, my friend. But anyways, So then we have obviously still our big heat issue that's still ongoing here. We still got tons and tons of heat advisories in effect up across like Texas, including Dallas, Oklahoma, bits of like northern Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio. They've even added some areas out here by like North and South Carolina, as well as like Northern Virginia, areas of Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, up into the Northeast here, like Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. Let's see here, New Hampshire and Maine. That's just a few of the areas here that we do have some heat advisories in effect. They did remove a lot of those excessive heat warnings that we were talking about here earlier. That was in areas further down south, but we still do have a lot of heat advisories in effect here. Now, we actually do have an extreme heat watch in effect for western West Virginia, including the Charleston area, a little bit of extreme southern Ohio, which we're going to have to look out for. What's up, Braven? Hope you're doing good. Saying, how is the zip code doing? Let me look real quickly. And then we're going to get into... I'm probably going to start... I'm going to hold the zip codes here towards the end of the live stream. We're going to do... Braven, I'll do yours real quickly, and I'll do yours, Mark. And then we're going to go through everything. And then at the end of the live stream, if you guys have any zip codes you want me to look at, then we'll go through them. But for now, we're gonna keep it... mostly we're just going to go over everything real quick. The only thing is for here is that tomorrow we have a thunderstorm risk. Same thing for Saturday. Yeah, really nothing much going on out here for you, my friend. I mean, nothing severe weather-wise. No flooding risk or anything like that either. So yeah, you're in the risk for a couple thunderstorms, but nothing big. All right, Mark, and I got yours real quickly. We'll go ahead and do your zip code, and I'm going to go over everything. And then at the end of the stream, we'll do some zip codes for you guys, okay? Anyway, so you, Mark, you're actually under a flood watch for the next 15 hours here. We do have a level 1 threat here for today for severe weather. Tomorrow we have a general thunderstorm risk, so potential out there for a couple booms of thunder, but nothing too crazy. And then, of course, Saturday, same thing here. There's a potential for a little bit more thunderstorm activity here overall. Now, regarding today, we do have a level 2 flooding watch here. This is at least a 15% risk out there for flooding up across the region here. This is from the Weather Prediction Center. And tomorrow we do have the same. You're right on the edge there, but you're still in that that level 2 out of 4 in regarding to the flooding risk overall. And then we work our way over here into Saturday, in which we have a level 1 threat. So we have a level 2 today and tomorrow, and then Saturday we are in the level 1 here, which is the at least 5% chance overall probability here. So that's kind of what we're mostly dealing with here. Nothing super crazy. They did actually remove that slight risk that we've had earlier for areas like Michigan and like Illinois, Indiana. That's no longer in effect here. We still do have a little bit of severe weather going on as of right now. Some out here by like Oklahoma. We do got a handful of severe thunderstorm warnings going on. A little bit of Texas as well, Kansas. And that's where most of the severe thunderstorm activity is currently overall. What's up, Scott? Welcome, my friend. Hopefully you're doing well. Good to have you here. But yeah, so that's kind of what we got going on. But yeah, we do have a bit of a flooding concern, though, up here across Kansas and Missouri. Actually, you guys can actually see here just east of Kansas City, we do have a lot of flash flood warnings in effect here, as we are seeing quite a bit of flooding going on out there. So if you guys know anybody in the region here, like northern Missouri, just give them a heads up, because we do have a bit of a flooding concern here. Actually, the WPC did put out a moderate risk here for today for the Kansas City area. Including areas like Topeka, Kansas here, including, obviously, Kansas City we talked about here, Overland Park. So, this includes a lot of east central Kansas, as well as a lot of kind of northwest, west central Missouri here in the level 3 out of 4 risk out there for flooding. So we got a pretty big deal for flooding out here. Those low-lying areas definitely need to be, watching, and obviously you guys need to be preparing for this because, flooding is very dangerous, and just make sure that you guys are, safe out there, and you guys are just, taking those precautions. But, shoot, we even have a pretty big level 2 threat, too. That's still a decent risk out there for flooding here in the yellow, which extends all the way from areas like Colorado through a little bit of like New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, here towards Kansas, Missouri, a little bit of southern Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana here. So, overall, we do have a pretty big risk out there for flooding. Tomorrow, some of the areas still continue with the flooding out here, especially by the upper Midwest and or just the Midwest here in the Central Plains and a little bit of the Western Ohio Valley here. We do have still a decent level 2 risk that's in effect, and the level 1 does go through the Mid-Atlantic up into the Northeast here. Also got another level 1 in the Deep South. We got another one up here towards Northern California. Hopefully that'll start to ease some of those drought conditions here. Overall, or some of those fire weather conditions, I should say. Also, like a little bit of Nevada and Oregon. And then lastly, we have another area up here in North Dakota and Minnesota overall for the flooding here tomorrow. And then, of course, Saturday, we just have a couple of big level 1 risks here overall. But, yeah, between today and tomorrow, that's going to be where the main flooding threat is going on. Now, you guys might have noticed that we do have a lot of kind of gray polygons up here throughout the entire state of Minnesota, Wisconsin, a little bit of central upper Michigan, and the upper state as well. So this is actually air quality alerts, and this is actually in place because of all those wildfires that we're dealing with up in Canada, actually driving a lot of that smoke down here into the region here. So, the Great Lakes area, we're going to be seeing quite a bit of wildfire smoke rolling through those regions here. So just please, make sure that you're watching out for that. I know there's a lot of sensitive groups out there that can't really handle the smoke very much. So I just recommend that you guys just, monitor that. And, if you're in the region here, and you can see right there, the wildfire smoke has entered Wisconsin Thursday. We'll continue to move southeast through the remainder of the day. But yeah, we do have a concern out there for all of that activity. Let's see. Scott says Emporia, Kansas, under lightning and light rain. Gotcha. We'll be careful out there. Let's see here. Mark says now night rain, thunder, and lightning here. Oh, sounds like you and Scott are kind of dealing with some of the some similar conditions out there, huh? Gotcha. Yeah, y'all just stay indoors. I know lightning. Lightning is still a big concern overall. What do we got going on by Cleveland here? Oh, we got some storms rolling through the Cleveland area here. 50-mile-an-hour winds. This is a special weather statement here. Got some marine warning for the coast out there. Got a little bit of storm activity popping through. So we're going to wait until tomorrow. Tomorrow up in the Northeast, we need to keep an eye out there for. They did add a level 2 threat here for tomorrow. For the threat of severe weather, for a little bit of eastern Pennsylvania, cutting through New Jersey, a little bit of southeastern New York State here, a lot of Connecticut, pretty good chunk of Massachusetts and northern Rhode Island here. It's in the risk out there for the level 2 threat. The level 1 threat's in the dark green, which extends from northern Virginia all the way up into Maine. Sniper says Kansas under lightning and heavy rain. Well, be careful out there, my friend. So yeah, tomorrow the Northeast is going to be kind of the hot spot here for some of New England here. We do also have a little level 1 threat for severe weather here in eastern Kansas, including Wichita and Topeka. Kansas City just on the outskirts of that level 1 threat. We also have another level 1 threat up here tomorrow as well for eastern Montana, pretty much the entire state of North Dakota, northern South Dakota, and northwestern Minnesota here is in the level 1 threat here overall. And we do have a lot of the country here that's actually in that general thunderstorm risk, as you can actually see. Literally covering a good, I'd say, 3/4 of the country here. Regarding the potential for just normal thunderstorms. That's what the light green indicates, is just the potential for maybe a couple normal thunderstorm activity. But once we start to get into dark green, that's where the severe potential begins. And then of course the yellow, that's the level 2 out of 5 risk, but happens to be tomorrow's biggest area for potential severe weather. And like I said, that's up there across New Jersey, portions of New York State, including New York City, actually, Connecticut, and Massachusetts. Now, tornado-wise tomorrow, we don't have a threat for tornadoes in the Northeast, which is good, although we do have 2 areas for potential tornadic development. The first one is actually in that marginal level 1 risk here in eastern Kansas, including areas out by Topeka, Manhattan, Kansas, some areas that is in here. The odds of tornadic activity is fairly low, and it's at a 2% chance probability here overall as of right now. But, it is still an area that we should keep an eye out there for. Maybe a weak, relatively brief tornado could develop in this region here. And we also do have another 2% risk up here as well for kind of the central and eastern side of North Dakota and a little bit of extreme northwestern Minnesota, including some areas out by like Grand Forks. Let's see, Devil's Lake area here, in which we do have a 2% risk overall probability for tornadoes here as well. So that's kind of where we could see maybe a couple spin-ups between Kansas, North Dakota, and a little bit of extreme northwestern Minnesota. But the good news is that if we did get tornadic activity, it would likely remain relatively weak, relatively brief as well. It probably wouldn't be anything super significant or anything like that. So that's certainly good news. Now working our way over here into the wind threat. We do have the three areas that we're still watching. Up here by Kansas, we just have a little level 1, a 5% risk overall for damaging wind gusts in terms of, potential wind gusts upwards of 60 miles an hour within those storms here overall. It is a relatively low end threat here and a pretty low probability here. So, it's nothing super significant. The same threat is also for pretty much most of North Dakota, as we mentioned, a little bit of northern South Dakota, eastern Montana, northwestern Minnesota here with another 5% risk here overall. But then we work our way over here to the northeast. Excuse me. We work our way over here to the northeast. We actually do have a pretty big 5% risk here all the way from northern Virginia, cutting through Maryland, going all the way up the northeast here and into even Maine. But you might have noticed this yellow area here. This is actually, instead of a 5% in the brown, this is actually a 15% here in the yellow, which this includes a little bit of far eastern Pennsylvania, just shy of Philadelphia here, including a lot of central and northern New Jersey as well. A little bit of, southern New York State out there by, including New York City. We have Connecticut here, portions of Massachusetts, and even a little bit of like northern Rhode Island here in that 15% wind risk here overall. Now, like I mentioned, we're not expecting any significant wind damage or anything like that out of these storms here for tomorrow, but some of those storms could be severe, and which could contain some wind gusts potentially upwards of 60 miles an hour or so. So we're going to have to look out there for that, as that will be a concern, and that's kind of the only concern here for at least the northeast here in general. Now, in terms of hail, we do not have a risk for hail tomorrow up across the northeast. Same thing up there by Kansas. We do not have a risk for hail, even in that little level 1 risk in eastern Kansas tomorrow. But we do have a little risk for hail up here in North Dakota tomorrow, a little bit of eastern Montana, and a little bit of extreme northwestern Minnesota, and even a little bit of extreme northwestern South Dakota as well. Which is a 5% chance probability of seeing hail, which, hail potential could be between 1, maybe 2 inches in diameter tomorrow. It shouldn't be anything exceeding that, which is certainly good. But, there is a little bit of a hail risk out here for kind of a minimal size hail here. Once again, maybe between 1 and 2 inches in diameter here. So that's kind of what we're dealing with here. That's really the only area that has hail, a hail threat here for tomorrow. Now, working away into Saturday here, we have 2 different areas here for potential severe weather. Working away over here into Saturday, we do have a lot of central and northern Illinois, including areas out by Chicago and the Bloomington area here. A little bit of like eastern Iowa out there by like Davenport region. A little bit of southern Wisconsin here towards Milwaukee, Madison. Working our way over here to central northern Indiana out by South Bend. Northwestern Ohio out there by areas like Toledo. You see out there just north of Cincinnati, northwest of Columbus here. And then lastly here for kind of the central southern side here of Michigan, including areas out there by like Lansing and Kalamazoo. So just, we're going to have to keep an eye out there for a little bit of severe weather potential here on Saturday. It is a relatively low end risk here. It is a level 1 threat overall for severe weather as of now. And there is no breakdown for the exact probability for tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds here for Saturday's risk here. But we're just going to have to, just go off of the fact, like I said, we just have a little bit of a risk overall. So then we work our way over here into portions actually of north central Idaho, a little bit of central and southern Montana, central and western North Dakota, and northwestern South Dakota. We have another level 1 severe weather threat out here for Saturday, in which we're going to have to keep an eye out there for, as we could still see some more severe weather potential out here. So just make sure that you guys, if you're in the region, if you know anybody out here, just give them a heads up on Saturday, as a little bit of severe weather will be possible out there as well. And then, of course, like we mentioned, the light green area here, this is where we could see some storms, but we're not expecting anything, severe or damaging to occur. Just kind of more of normal summertime type of thunderstorm activity here. Anyways, that was a lot of talking, wasn't it? Colton says, keep up the great work, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Colton. I appreciate that. But yeah, so that's what we're dealing with here, severe weather-wise. I don't think we have anything in the extended range here. Day 4, so for Sunday, we have nothing. Monday, we're looking pretty good. Tuesday, we're good. Next Wednesday, we're good. Next Thursday, we're good. Okay, so yeah, we're chilling. We don't really have anything in the extended range. So, yeah, it's really just remainder of today, tomorrow, and of course Saturday. As of right now, where severe weather is going to be possible. So we'll definitely keep an eye out there for that. Okay, so let's talk tropics here. So we do have a system that we're monitoring here. This is, likely not going to form into anything. There is another storm we're going to talk about here in a minute. But we do have a 10% chance probability of overall development here on this system here, throughout the next 48 hours to 7 days. We're not really expecting anything to develop out of this, to be honest with you. This thing's likely not even going to be a depression. Or get alone a tropical storm or a hurricane. So we're not going to reach that status with this storm here. More than likely, not even a depression. Right now it's just kind of a bunch of thunderstorm activity here. It actually has been. It was convecting pretty heavily earlier, but it seems like a lot of that convection has started waning down quite a bit here. You can see in the earlier satellite imagery just how heavy the convection was in southwestern Louisiana. You can see those cloud tops starting to lighten up a little bit here, indicating that convection is calming down a little bit out here, which is certainly good. But it's just too far disorganized to really do anything, and it's just going to continue going westward here. As it works its way into areas like Texas and whatnot. So, once again, this system's likely really not going to be doing a whole lot. But anyways, well, let's hop over to models. So we need to talk about another system I've been keeping my eye on here. So as of now, the Hurricane Center does not have any area of development yet. I have a feeling that they might have something tomorrow. We'll have to see what happens. We'll have to continue to see if the models continue to trend in favor of this. But if you guys notice, we have a little just a little area, a little wave that came off of Africa out here, just southwest of the Cabo Verde. I'd say about 1,000 miles or so. We work our way down in time here, and GFS does have the potential of something maybe developing here into later this month. This is only about 150 hours out or so. So, it's within reasonable time frame. So that's from GFS here. Now, Euro, it's obviously good to compare models and look at, other models to kind of compare things. Euro doesn't really show much happening with that. However, Euro does actually have another wave coming off of Africa here, right around the 28th. 29th and 30th here. You can kind of see that system kind of rolling its way into the MDR, which is the main development region here. So tropical activity is probably going to start to pick up here quite a bit, maybe towards the end of the month and early next month. So we're going to have to keep an eye out there for that. Now, remember, we were actually looking at the hurricane activity chart earlier on today's stream. We're not even on the bottom of the ladder yet, or we're at the bottom of the ladder. We're starting very soon to start climbing the ladder here. So most of the activity in tropical land is ahead of us. So we still have a lot of building up to do. But anyways, but yeah, so we're just going to keep an eye out there for these systems here. Looking at the CMC here, CMC doesn't really have much going on here with this system either, but it also does show maybe that other wave kind of rolling through for the 29th and whatnot. Don't want to go too far into models here. And then, of course, lastly, the icon overall. You can see that the icon does kind of agree with that system working its way to the west here. Just a little bit of a little disturbance there, and following a second wave off of Africa, once again, right around the 28th or so. So we're going to have to monitor it. Obviously, it's still too early to, make any calls or anything like that. It's we're still kind of trying to figure things out here between the models and everything. But, I wouldn't be surprised if we really start to see some activity popping off here soon in the Atlantic. Now, I do want to bring you guys over here to the Eastern Pacific, which we're actually probably getting ready to have another system out here in the Eastern Pacific. The GFS has been picking up on some activity for the last several runs here. Also, kind of right around the 29th, potential disturbance will be working its way over here to the west here, which could ultimately develop into something. We're going to have to see what happens. Euro, the ECMWF kind of agrees on it as well, but more kind of a broad low, not really anything, potent, nothing really super crazy. However, that's kind of the only model that really shows that, as the CMC kind of also agrees with the GFS in terms of potential development here out of the system right around the 29th and 30th or so. So we'll have to monitor that. And then lastly, in terms of icon, you can actually see the icon here also agrees kind of with the the GFS and what the CMC kind of had to show with that system kind of developing here. So possible activity coming up here in both the EPAC, also in the Atlantic. So we're going to have to look out there for that. Anyways, there's a lot of hype going on Facebook feeds. Yeah, there is. Yeah, you just need to make sure that you know what's real and what's not. There's a lot of people that like to over-exaggerate things. That is for sure. Right now, it doesn't seem like a big issue, but I'm just saying, there is a little bit of signals pointing towards activity in both the Atlantic and the Eastern Pacific. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep you guys updated. Severe weather hasn't been all that significant, which is fantastic. Yeah, I mean, we've had a handful of nasty storms over the last several days, including some tornadic activity, but kind of typical for this time of the year, though, to be honest. Most of summertime days, from what you notice, is we have usually slight risks or higher. It just typical summertime, to be honest with you. Thankfully the severe weather season, like the main part of severe weather season, is over with, thankfully. So definitely thankful about that. But anyways, folks, well, if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. I mean, like I said, we pretty much went over everything here that I wanted to talk about tonight. If y'all want me to take a look at some zip codes, I will be more than happy to help you guys out and just kind of let y'all know what you're in store for. But yeah, pretty much everything on the weather world right now that we need to pay attention to is this heat that we're still dealing with here. We're going to keep an eye on the tropics. Also, a little bit of severe weather still ongoing, like we mentioned here. So we'll just make sure to keep you guys up and weather aware here. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, hey, don't hesitate to ask. It's what we're here for. We're here to help you guys and help keep you guys weather aware and prepared. And I just want to say thank you all for joining us. I really, really appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, leave a like. It'd be much appreciated. That way you guys can also stay weather aware and up to date on everything that's going on here. So I was talking to my girlfriend earlier, and I was telling her that I really want to start trying to do something here on this channel. So I want to try to make a YouTube short every morning whenever I get up. I want to try to make a YouTube video in the afternoon, and I want to try to do a stream every evening. So we'll hit every single type of content method per day. So short, then video, then live stream. So we'll save the live stream for evenings. We'll do the videos in the afternoon for a full update, and then we'll do a YouTube short kind of as a quick little overview for the morning time. So that's going to be kind of what we're going to start implementing hopefully tomorrow. So we're gonna see how that goes. I'm gonna try my best to do that. So we're going to get kind of on a little bit of a routine. You know, there's not going to be any scheduled upload times, you know, just due to the uncertainty of, you know, my sleep schedule every now and then. Because I ain't going to lie, sometimes my sleep schedule's a little weird. Sometimes I wake up later than, you know, later one day than another, so I'm not just going to set a time and have to stress over that. But just whenever I get up and going, I'll make a YouTube short, and then throughout the afternoon, I'll make a video. And then evening time, we could probably set a fixed time for the evening streams, because since it's later in the day and I can prepare for it better. So we'll probably do that every day right around 9 o'clock Eastern. I feel like would probably be a good time to do that, you know, just before bed, you know, for some people, or, you know, that way it's not super, super late, but it's whenever you're winding down, you know. So I think that'll be pretty good. Ponderosa says, good idea. Yeah, I agree. Let's see here. Chris says, my concern is for Sunday for the marginal severe weather tomorrow. There's a low chance of thunderstorms with all the humidity present. Not surprised. So Sunday there is no risk for severe weather as of right now. The convective risk only goes to Saturday. Today's Thursday. Tomorrow will be Friday, then Saturday. Sunday there is nothing yet. Let me look at your area though. You know what? You actually live where I used to live. I lived just right here. I used to live right here in Prince William County growing up. That's crazy. You're literally not too far where I used to live and where I grew up. Okay, so tomorrow you're under that. You might have got your day mixed up a little bit. So you're actually under the risk tomorrow for Friday. You're in the level 1 severe weather threat here. The good news is that there's no tornadoes with it. Just a little bit of a wind risk here. You know, hail's not even a concern, which is good. So yeah, just keep it out there for a little bit of gusty winds and stuff like that. But yeah, further up in the northeast out here by like New Jersey and you know, Connecticut, Massachusetts, a little bit of New York State, you know, New York City included too, has a little bit greater of a risk here tomorrow, which we might do some coverage for. I feel like we probably should. Here, I do want to hop you guys over here to the models again real quickly. I kind of want to see what time. Chris says, I remember you told me. It's so interesting. Yeah, I lived there most of my life. Let's go to 0 UTC. We have a fresh long run here. Yeah, it seems very scattered. I mean, storms could kind of fire off in the afternoon here, just showing like maybe 18, 19 UTC for development here. We'll just keep an eye on it. But yeah, I might do coverage on that. We'll keep an eye on it. It'll probably be later in the evening. Or maybe we'll instead of doing our evening update, we'll just do an evening coverage maybe. I don't know. I'll figure it out tomorrow. If it's needed, I'll do it. But if not, then we'll just stick with our normal schedule. Frankie says, thank you. No problem, dude. No problem. All right, everybody. Well, I'm going to roll off here for now. Just want to say thank you all for joining. Just wanted to do a quick little evening update here just to touch base with y'all. And tell you all everything that's kind of going on here. But if you're new to the channel, consider leaving a like, hitting that subscribe button. Be greatly appreciated. And all right, my friends, thank you for joining. We'll see y'all in the next one.